Warning, this video contains some Attack on Titan manga spoilers. Hey anime fans, we're back again with another new video. I hope everyone is doing well. Today we are going to talk about Eren when played a better hero than villain. Upon first glance, Attack on Titan seems to be straightforward anime, one centered around the fight between good and evil, depicting humanity's last stand against the monstrous Titans. But the deceptive Japanese name of the series mimics the duality of its protagonist, Eren Yeager. Shinjeki no Kyojin also means the Attack Titan, and it's a subtle hint that there's more going on behind the scenes than viewers realize. The final arc of the series takes a surprising twist. Eren sees genocide as his only option and allies himself with former enemies, like his half-brother Zeke Yeager, in the hope of achieving his ultimate goal to free his people. It's a development that the manga's creator must have prepared beforehand, but the approach has received mixed feedback from the fans. In some ways, Eren played a better hero than a villain. Before we dive in, hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to be part of the conversation. As a child, he saves Mikasa from her kidnappers. The close bond between Eren and Mikasa is one of the most powerful relationships in the series. When Mikasa is a child, her parents are killed and she is kidnapped by a child trafficking ring. A young Eren rushes to her aid and he manages to kill two of the kidnappers. When the third corners him, he urges her to fight. She obeys, and according to Eren, this leads to her fixating on him, her instincts as an Ackerman genetically programming her to become his protector. It's unclear if this is true or not, because genetics aside, it's obvious that Mikasa has real feelings for Eren and sees him as her hero. He's traumatized after his mother's death. It's not unusual for a hero to have a traumatic background, and many times it's related to family issues. For example, DC Batman has to watch his parents die in a shootout, and the incident inspires him to become the Dark Knight. Eren sees his mother die too, but his case is even worse than that of Bruce Wayne. She is actually eaten by a monstrous Titan. He tries to rush to her aid, but he and Mikasa are spirited away by hands. He can do nothing but reach out to her in horror, and the image haunts him forever. Carla Yeager's death is both heartbreaking and spine-chilling, and it guides her son into his quest to kill all Titans. It's the perfect origin story for a hero. He doesn't start out as particularly exceptional. Heroes aren't born, they're made. This is a fact shonen anime has always embraced. Most shows in the genre focus on the journey of the protagonist. Naturally, in the beginning, the hero isn't particularly exceptional. It's often his determination that makes him stand out from the rest. Young Eren is no different. His instructor in the training corps, Keith Shadys, notes Eren doesn't excel at anything but compensates for it through his sheer willpower. He graduates 5th, after Mikasa and the 3 Marleyan warriors. But then he has to learn how to use a whole new skill set after turning into a Titan. As strange as it may seem, this is part of what makes him a hero. Many of his fellows reject him for his Titan form, but he works with them anyway. After Eren's Titan powers are revealed, he's spurned and considered an anomaly among the people within the walls. Mikasa and Armin alone stand up for him. He doesn't begrudge anyone for their behavior. He accepts his superiors' doubts and often their abuse as something entirely justified. When Hanzoi starts working with him to experiment with his hardening, he embraces their requests, even if it's often taxing on him. After finding out the truth, he wants freedom for himself and his people. It's very easy to empathize with Eren's desire to defeat Titans after seeing Carla's demise. It's just as easy to understand his need to give his people freedom. Originally stirred by his friend Armin, it makes Eren want to join the Survey Corps before Shiganshina is even breached. After Carla's death, that seed blooms further, and it grows even more after Eren finds out the whole dreadful truth. The Eldians have been unjustly paying for the crimes of their ancestors for generations. It makes sense that Eren would want this to stop, and there's nothing bad about that. That's exactly why so many people band under his leadership, the Ygritte choosing to trust him instead of the authorities of Paradis. Eren's more villainous actions are a natural progression of the course of events. In Season 3's finale, viewers see Eren asking a terrible question. If we kill everyone beyond the ocean, will we finally be free? It's an understandable dilemma, as Eren has just realized everything is exactly like in his father's memories. That can only mean their true enemies are even more dangerous than Titans. Mikasa and Armin don't reply, but a few years later, it appears he's found the answer himself. The time skip makes his character arc a little confusing, but it's still a natural progression of the course of events. His decision to abandon his humanity is an act of courage and self-sacrifice. In the past, Eren has always gone to great lengths to help and save the people around him. He leaps into a Titan's mouth to save his friend Armin, and is swallowed instead in the process. In a way, his decision to abandon his humanity is also one of courage and self-sacrifice. He acknowledges that he has to become a monster to achieve his goals, and that turns him into a tragic hero more than a villain. He hates the idea of his friends being used like he was. One of the main reasons for Eren's fight is his desire to protect his friends. He hates the idea of them being turned into tools like he was. He tells them he doesn't want any of them to inherit the attack Titan, that his wish is for them to live long lives. And yet, the Eldian government wishes to use Historia, turn her into a Titan, and have her eat Zeke. Eren has always wanted to protect Historia, so this idea is unacceptable for him. Her pregnancy is the only reason they don't go through with their plan, although it's unclear if Historia got pregnant on purpose to avoid their scheme and if Eren was in any way involved. Marley is the one perpetuating the war, and they will never stop. Eren takes no pleasure in the destruction he causes or in the more questionable things he has to do. But he knows he has to do these things because Marley's insistence to perpetuate conflict with Eldia puts Paradis in a terrible position. They continue promoting their agenda of turning their own people, and the rest of the world, against Eldians. To make matters worse, technology is moving forward. Marley may have won the war against the Mideast allied forces, but it was a close call, and their narrow victory proved the Age of Titans is over. From Eren's point of view, he has no choice but to attack now when they still have the chance. He may have set himself up to be the villain for everyone else, but it's always Eldia he fights for. He dies to free the world from the power of the Titans. Eldians are a different species capable of turning into monsters, so the world will never accept them. Neighboring nations will always blame them for the monstrosities committed with their powers, just like Ymir was blamed for being used by King Fritz. Eren knows that, and that knowledge never leaves him throughout the war. It's not that Eren doesn't make significant mistakes throughout the rumbling. Considering the number of casualties, it would be foolish to ignore the fact that he did choose a villainous path. But after Eren's death, through Mikasa's strength, the power of the Titans vanishes, freeing the world from Ymr's curse forever. It comes at a heavy cost, but it's a new start. In the end, Eren is just as much of a hero as he is a villain. That's all in this video. Which one do you like, Eren as a hero or villain? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.